also the Jororket is also near the home of the late and then Kapkenda Girls also produced Salina Koskei, the 2009 Boston Marathon winner, and among so many other athletes. And then we also have School Iten. St. Patrick's High School Iten have produced 40 Olympians, among them 21 Olympic medals. Yeah, you can imagine 40 Olympians and 21 Olympic medals for the country, all for St. Patrick's High School Iten. There is Singore Girls. We have Vivian Cheriot, the US-based Salik Biego studied. There is also the likes of Kipiwat, the champion, Fayola Kipiwat, among so many other athletes. I think going by the high level, that these three schools have produced the best athletes in the world. Again, it's good to understand that Iten is one of the best training sites in the world. I think it is Iten in Kenya and St. Maurice in Switzerland and Colorado in the US. Best athletics training centers in the world. Yes. Yeah.
Well, still talking about that, Koben, this Elgeyo Marakwet has produced some of the best athletes that we have in the country, and also legends. You know, if you can pick these legends, I know there are very many, but if you can pick out some of these legends and some of the titles they've won.
I can to make it more precise is that Elgeyo Marakwet have produced the best. I think the Kenya's first. Look at Paul Cherov, Kenya's first national cross-country champion. Paul Cherov is here with us. There is the first African to win Boston and New York Marathon. There is this athlete called, there is athletes like Vivian Cheriot to have won 2 Olympic medals in one championships. There are people like Ezekiel Kemboi to have won 2 Olympic gold medals. They come from this county. There is even David Rudisha, who was in Cameroon High School here. He won 2 Olympic gold medals in 800 meters. That is in London 2012 and in Rio 2016. Those are some of the few athletes who have actually performed very well in athletics, and they come from this county.
Remember, on the left side of your screen, that is the men's race currently going on, and on the right side of your screen, that is the women's race currently going on. And so far, we have covered 1 hour 12 minutes, and we'll be waiting to see who will be the winner of the 3rd edition of the Iten International Marathon that is set to end here in Iten town, and winners get 1 million Kenya shillings. And this is a race that has been known to be a launch pad for the careers of some of the athletes. They use this, that it can propel them to the world. Steve, what do you have to say about that? You know, this is where you get recognized.
Robinson.
Yes.
I'll pick one example.
Yes.
Of last year's winner, Lucky Prop.
Yes.
Lucky Prop rose from an athlete who won that race in borrowed shoes. He borrowed shoes from world 10,000 meters silver medalist Daniel Lebenyo Simiu, who is his training mate.
Yes.
After winning this race, Lucky Prop was spotted by managements.
Yes.
And guess what happened this year? He competed in the Berlin Marathon, his first world major, and finished a strong 12 in Berlin.
Yes.
And as we speak,
on his debut.
Yes, in September. And as we speak, Lucky Prop, who is trained by Eric Kogo, alongside the likes of Ebenyo and the likes of Andrew Alamisi, who is the world under 20 5,000 meters champion, is preparing to compete in Boston Marathon next year.
Very, very impressive.
That is how local races can propel an athlete into the global arena. So I have just picked one example, but many of these athletes who've competed in local races such as Iten International Marathon get the opportunity to be spotted and get the opportunities to compete in global races. You can imagine from Iten International Marathon to a world major. That is what it means.
You also had a chance of speaking to athletes that did not win last year, and they said that they have to do they have to do whatever possible to make sure that they win this year.
Yes, a number of them could not finish in the top 20 because remember, athletes coming to compete in Iten are super fast. They understand the terrain. They understand the course very well. This is where fans cheer athletes, calling them by their names alongside the course, calling them by their names. This is where athletes from the same training camp, because they know each other. The fans know the athletes. Also an exciting competition because they train where they train.
Yes.
So those who competed last year and could not make it to the top 20 are awarded prizes. They are saying this year their target is the top 20 because no one would claim to come to Iten and be sure of taking the top prize. Most of them are targeting top 20, top 10, having learned their lessons. Last year, this year they are back.
The strategy is all what it takes to win this race. Of course, that is the Iten International Marathon. And speaking of which, of course, we've not seen anybody else retain this marathon. It's all about new winner, new year. And comment, when you talk about such a marathon, we've seen it's also the battle of counties. Elgeyo Marakwet, you have Uasin Gishu, and then there's Nandi.
Looking at you see, it is a battle between three counties. That is the Nandi County, who call themselves the source of champions, Eldoret City, which is the city of champions, and of course Iten, Elgeyo Marakwet, which is the home of champions. If you look at it critically, Nandi were the first county to produce world beaters, the likes of Kipchoge Keino, Amos Priot, 1964-68, and then getting back to Elgeyo Marakwet, they picked up athletics a bit later. Even the colonialists did not venture too much into this county, so the athletics started as a missionary venture here, as opposed to the other counties. Uasin Gishu now is the beneficiary of the two counties because most of the athletes who win the big races, make money, they invest in Uasin Gishu. So Uasin Gishu is actually an investment zone for these athletes. They were not born and bred from there, but it's an investment zone for athletes. That is why they go to the city of champions. But in most cases, most of the athletes come from either Elgeyo Marakwet or the Nandi County. Yeah.
Yes, that is the battle of counties, as you say. But one thing that stands, Steve, here in Iten, kilometers without seeing athletes running in the morning, and it's very, very interesting that the athletes camps are many.
Who is on the lead in the women's 42 kilometers.
Slow, 20. Just slow, 20 now. Side, up.
marathons have been won. Most of them have been won by Kenyans. We remember even the world record was set by a Kenyan in Chicago. And of course, from next year, we'll see Sydney also getting into the world marathon majors, and probably athletes that are taking part in the Iten international marathons will be taking part in those world marathon majors in the years to come. And Steve, when you take a look at this, let's begin with Sydney being incorporated into the world marathon majors. What were your thoughts?
Good. We used to have the big six. Now we have the big seven.
Yes.
Sydney Marathon included. We had Tokyo, we had Boston,
Yes.
London,
Yes.
Chicago, New York, yes, and New York, and then now we have, and then we have the Sydney Marathon.
Yes.
So the addition of Sydney Marathon is quite interesting. Remember, this year's edition of Sydney Marathon was won by a Kenyan. The men's marathon was won by Brimin Kipkorir Misoi. Brimin Kipkorir Misoi is a two-time back-to-back winner of Frankfurt Marathon. He won Frankfurt 2022 and 2023. And then when he went to Sydney in September, he won that race in a 2:06 course record. Less than a month later,
It's upgraded.
Sydney Marathon is upgraded to a world marathon major. Brimin Kipkorir Misoi comes from Kapkitony in Elgeyo Marakwet County. Are you seeing how Elgeyo Marakwet County is coming in most of these races? Are you seeing the secret? He wants to go there next year as a defending champion, having won it when the race was not a world major. He hopes that if his formula now, I mean that is if his management and coach will also allow. But for bringing Misoi, his hope is to go to Sydney next year and run there as when the race is a world major. That is his dream. He comes from there and he believes that.
kaunti ya Elgeyo Marakwet, Gavana Wesley Rotich, ambaye alisema kwamba aliwaomba wanariadha wakimbie wakiwa safi, yani unaona, wasitumie dawa zilizopigwa marufuku. Manake hizi riadha bwana ni za kimataifa, ni riadha ambazo yule ambaye anashamiri kutoka katika riadha hizi huwa anaondokea anakuwa balozi haswa wa nchi hii ya Kenya. Manake wale ambao wanashamiri kutoka katika mbio kama hizi huwa rahisi sana, huwa ni wepesi sana kufanya vizuri kutoka katika mbio zingine za hadhi. Tazungumzia mbio za hadhi kama zile za jiji la Berlin, mbio za hadhi zile za Uingereza, zungumzia jiji lile la London. Maana ukiangalia majina ambayo wanashamiri kutoka katika mbio kama hizo, mbio za kimataifa kama hizo, ni wanariadha tu wa Kenya tu. Manake bara la Afrika limebarikiwa sana. Ukiangalia nchi ya Uhabeshi, Ethiopia, ukiangalia nchi ya Kenya, huwa na upinzani mkali sana katika mbio ndefu, mbio za masafa marefu. Kumbusha tu, mshindi wa mbio hizi atatia kibindoni, mbio zile za kilomita 42 atatia kibindoni shilingi milioni 1. Kwa hivyo maeneo haya ya bonde la Ufa yanafahamika sana kote ulimwenguni, manake wale ambao hufanya vizuri kutoka katika maeneo haya wanaendelea na ubabe pia nje ya mipaka ya Kenya. Naam, nikukumbushe pia kwamba mapema tulitangamana na gavana jirani, manake kaunti ya Elgeyo Marakwet wamepakana na kaunti ya Uasin Gishu. Kwa hivyo maeneo haya bwana, kuzungumzia kaunti ya Uasin Gishu, bila shaka kuna zile mbio za jiji ama Eldoret City Marathon. Kwa hivyo ndivyo mambo yalivyo, manake ukizungumza na wakazi wa eneo hilo sisi bwana, sisi si watu ambao tunapenda mpira, lakini talanta yetu haipo katika soka. Talanta ipo katika riadha. Kwa hivyo ni mguu ponye, wavulana kwa wasichana wote wakitafuta lishe. Umuhimu pia wa mbio kama hizi huwa ni wepesi katika kuuza eneo. Kwa hivyo kaunti hii ambao ndio wenyeji wa awamu, ndio wenyeji hasa, ndio waanzilishi wa mbio hizi za Iten, bila shaka itakuwa ni rahisi sana kuuza eneo hili, ni kumarket kwa lugha ya King'eng'e, eneo hili, kaunti hii, miji hii, eneo hili la Elgeyo Marakwet, eneo ambalo linajulikana sana, manake hapa ukulima ndio umetia fora sana, ukulima ndio umetiliwa maanani sana. Kwa hivyo ni wakazi ambao wanatilia maanani sana kilimo, ndio maana ukipiga hatua kidogo unapatana na wanyama, au sio? Piga hatua kidogo unapatana na wanyama. Naam, tunapita maeneo kwa sasa. Tunapita hili eneo la Kapteret, eneo la Kapteret. Kwa hivyo tumepiga hatua haswa katika mbio hizi. Hali ya anga tukianza mapema ilikuwa ngumu, manake kulikuwa na mvuke ule, baridi ilikuwa jingi sana, kali sana, lakini kwa sasa angalau hali si mbaya. Kuna joto kwa japo kwa umbali, lakini joto japo siko mbali. Tupo katika eneo hili la Chelingwe Kapteren Kapsisi kijiji hiki cha Kapsisi. Kwa hivyo nitakuwa tunakudondoshia tu kwa upole maeneo haya ya kaunti hii ya Elgeyo Marakwet. Alafu wajua tena siku hii ya leo ni siku ya Jumapili, siku ya kanisa. Watu wengi wameenda dini bwana. Kwa hivyo kuna baadhi ambao wengine wanaamka saizi, wengine wametoka makanisani wanafuatilia mbashara mbio hizi, na angalau kuwapatia wanariadha msukumo, kuwapatia shinikizo, kuwapiga msukumo fulani kwamba angalau twende bwana, twende wajake. Manake hawa wengi wanariadha ni wakazi tu wa eneo hili na maeneo jirani, maeneo jirani nazungumzia maeneo kama tuseme Eldoret au sio. Kwa hivyo ndio maeneo jirani, ndio maeneo haya ndio kitovu cha riadha duniani. Manyunyu. Kwa hivyo hali ya anga ni nzuri sana kwa wanariadha. Kwa hivyo natarajia kwa mtazamo wangu natarajia wanariadha waweke muda mzuri sana tu katika awamu hii ya 3 ya mbio hizi za Iten. Manake wanasema hali ya anga ni nzuri, au sio? Hali ya anga ni nzuri. Kungekuwa na joto ningetatizika, maana unaona sasa hali ya anga tena itaathiri pakubwa kifua, jinsi mwanariadha anavyopumua, lakini kwa kweli hali ya anga ni nzuri sana. Mamia walijitokeza kushiriki katika mbio hizi, lakini kama kawaida huwa wanaanza kwa karibu, alafu baada ya wanariadha ambao imekuwa vigumu sana kuhimili mbio hizi. Kwa hivyo wakasalia kupokea zile ganga za mganga ngao wapate nafuu. Kwa hivyo si rahisi sana mashindano haya. Barabara japo ni nzuri, wenyeji wa mashindano haya, wenyeji ambao ni kaunti ya Elgeyo Marakwet. Kwa hivyo gavana alikuwa anasema kwamba hao wafadhili ndio toa uhai, wanayapa mashindano haya uhai. Kwa hivyo kujitokeza kwao na toa shinikizo kupatia uhai mashindano haya. Tumepiga hatua, tumemaliza sasa kama kilomita kama 30 hivi. Kwa hivyo kama katika hesabu za haraka hivi, kama tumepiga kilomita 30 hivi, tuko na karibu takriban kilomita kama 12 hivi, au sio? Tutamatishe awamu ya mwaka huu. Kwa hivyo bado japo tumemaliza kipande kikubwa, lakini bado pia kuna kijipande ambacho kimesalia. Kuna sehemu ambayo imesalia takriban kilomita kama 11-12 hivi, tufunge kazi. Mandhari nzuri sana ukiangalia, kando na hali ya anga ni kijani kibichi tu. Kwa hivyo huku ukulima bwana, mahindi, yani ni msimu mzuri sana huu, manake mahindi yamemea. Kuna sehemu tulikuwa tunaona sehemu wakulima washaanza kuvuna. Kwa hivyo ndio baadhi ya maeneo ambayo yanalisha, wazungu wasema ndio the food basket. Manake kaunti hii ya Elgeyo Marakwet, kaunti ya Uasin Gishu, ndio wale ambao wameshindwa kushiriki katika mashindano haya mambio hizi wanakaa kando ya barabara kuwapa moyo, kuwapa msukumo wanariadha. Na viongozi wamekuwa wametoa kauli moja tu, kauli mbiu ya wanariadha washiriki mbio hizi, lakini dawa. Manake jinamizi ambalo linatia kitanzi ulimwengu wa michezo, jinamizi linatia kitanzi nchi hii ya Kenya. Manake Alafu kwa kawaida katika mashindano kama haya, riadha kama hizi, kuna wale ambao huwa dhamira yao haswa sio kushinda, ni kumaliza angalau. Maanake kuna
And the biggest question is who's going to dethrone last year's winners of this competition. Last year, remember, Luki Prop emerged the winner in a time of 2 hours, 13 minutes and 19 seconds, while on the women's side, it was Naomi Chepkorir who won in a time of 2 hours, 32 minutes and 36 seconds. We continue that conversation with Steve Ruto and Jonathan Komen. And very, very interesting, something that we have here. We've been joined by gentlemen that took part in 10 kilometers. They've decided to come to the commentary area and, of course, take a look at what is happening in the 42 kilometers main race. Remember, they finished 10 kilometers very, very early. So let's get to hear even from them. Kwa majina unaitwa nani?
Kalemi Duncan Jogu.
Duncan, will take part in 10 kilometers. Ilikuwa aje?
Ilikuwa ngumu. Ilikuwa na milima mingi na baridi ilikuwa mingi kabisa.
Baridi ilikuwa mingi sana? Na wewe ni wa hii area?
Mimi natoka Kirinyaga County.
Kirinyaga? Yeah. Na nini imekufanya ukuje kushiriki Iten? Nimekuja
juu napenda bio. Ndio imefanya nikuje ni trainia hapa.
Wanasema ni ngumu sana kukimbia hapa Iten. Ume experience hivyo?
Ni ngumu lakini kuna high altitude sana hapa.
Na hiyo baridi ya asubuhi ulikuwa unasikia aje?
Ilikuwa mbaya, haikuwa rahisi.
Na pengine ushaishi
Stan Chartered mara 2 na za county huko kwetu Kirinyaga County.
Na za county huko Kirinyaga County?
Yeah.
Aha, sasa of course hizi mbio unaona next year tena utakuja?
Next year bado niko hapa ningangane, maybe niingie top 10 hivi.
Uingie men top 10?
Yeah.
Acha tuongee na participants wengine. Kwa majina unaitwa nani?
Collins Kimasop. Ilikuwa ngumu. Sababu ya milima.
Sababu ya milima? Yeah. Wewe ni wa hii area?
Na train Eldoret.
Una train Eldoret?
Yeah.
Na hiyo baridi ya asubuhi naona hadi sasa
sababu ya baridi.
Yeah. Hata huko unatoa jasho?
Hata sikuwa natoa jasho. Hata ukimbia aje, wewe sitoa jasho.
Mbio inakuwa ngumu.
Mbio ni ngumu kwa sababu ya milima.
Nini imefanya ushiriki mbio hizi leo?
Nimependa tu kujoin Iten marathon. Yeah.
Sawa. Kaka, kwa majina unaitwa nani?
Mimi naitwa Dennis Kitum. Yeah.
Wewe ni mkaaji wa eneo hili ama?
Yeah, mimi ni mkaaji wa Iten. Yeah, na train hapa pia.
Mbio zimekuaje?
Mbio leo imekuwa ngumu sana. Upepo imekuwa kubwa. Yeah, so
wenzako wanasema kulikuwa na baridi sana. Maana yake ilikuwa 12 degrees asubuhi.
upepo ilikuwa kubwa pia, alafu weather pia nayo ilikuwa gloomy sana. So kuprit kidogo ilikuwa ngumu. Alafu hiyo upepo pia ilikuwa inakuletea stitch na kudunga.
Na sasa ungependa
bado kwa sasa masoesi yangu haijafikia hapo, maybe half marathon. Tukaenda gradually.
Of course, some of the participants in the 10 kilometers race that took part in the morning, and it's all about an international marathon. It's all about running. Comes out of races that are going on at the
athletes who train here are super fast.
Yes.
These are athletes who've conquered other marathons. Others have competed in other marathons but have not been successful.
Yes.
This is where they come to make their breakthroughs in athletics. From the start list, you can see a number of athletes, common names.
Yes.
Names like names such as that.
try and get hold of him later on to explain to us that the science behind that. But on your screens at the moment is the leader in the women's 42 kilometers marathon. Remember, we have done 2 hours 6 minutes so far, so she's not far off from coming to the finish line. So we are closely monitoring that to see at what time she will come and cut the tape here in Iten town. She's trying to stay mentally strong. Remember, when you're running and you've opened a very, very big gap, it's all about now, it's all mental now. Trying to make sure that you maintain the pace, maintain the pace or increase it so that you can get a personal best probably in that race. And you don't want to get into a complacent situation where you see probably someone is not following you, so you lower the pace, and for her it's all mental, trying to battle with her mental to make sure that she can either maintain the pace or even accelerate, or rather increase the pace a little bit. Remember, earlier on I spoke to Lorna Kiplagat, a legend in athletics, and I asked her, when an athlete breaks that early, what normally goes through the mind, and probably after you run some few kilometers and behind you see that there's no one in the vicinity, what happens? And she said that when it gets to that point, it's all 30% physical and 70% mental. So I would want to imagine that is what is going on with the leader in the women's marathon at the moment, trying to ensure that she maintains that pace so that she can at least come and finish the race as the first person, rather as the winner of the third edition of the Iten International Marathon. This is a marathon that has the theme which inclines towards climate change. It's all about running for climate resilience. And also on your screen at the moment are the men trying to outwit each other, outbattle each other to see who wins the men's marathon, men's 42 kilometers race. Remember, the 10 kilometers race ended a while back. Davis Mberia spoke to the winners in the men and women's category, but at the moment all eyes are on the 42 kilometers, and as you can see, others have given up. There are those who've decided to just walk it off because probably the pace was too high for them, or the altitude, they couldn't contain that, so they've decided to just take a break and probably walk it off to see whether their body can get back into shape, and they see whether they can finish that marathon. But we are still at the finish line, waiting to see who will walk home with 1 million Kenya shillings. That is the prize of the winners from this year's marathon, and it's very, very interesting. Remember, Steve, this is after we spoke to Lorna, she said that it's important for athletes to invest. After you are done with your athletics career, get into another dream and try to invest so that things don't go haywire for you. What do you make of that?
Athletes such as Lorna Kiplagat, Mary Iten, Sharon Cherop from this county, and among others, are among athletes who have invested heavily and have become an inspiration to upcoming athletes. Mm-hmm. Upcoming athletes can look at them and say, you can compete in athletics, get prize money, invest, and have something for your future. So the likes of Lorna and many other athletes, Moses Kiptanui, who is also from this county, has invested in Eldridge, supermarkets and real estate, among other investments. Have become an inspiration to young athletes who now look upon them for their future. They know that when you compete and win something, you can invest, build a house, buy land, invest in agriculture and in any other sector, and have a good retirement and have to enjoy something during the retirement. So those are athletes who are make the young athletes feel encouraged and know that the future is bright. Although on the other side, there are those who've had the opportunity to compete, won prize money, but again, did not manage to invest well. So we can say we have good examples, and we can also say that we have examples that are not so good. But athletes are also picking the lessons. You win today and realize that you did not spend the money well, go back and still rebuild yourself. But the most important thing about our athletes is that they are looking up to their legends. They are following in the footsteps of their legends. And that is a bit quite encouraging, because when you see young athletes saying, I want to be like so and so, I am inspired by this legendary athlete. So you feel that this is really a career, and it should be taken as that, a career. Yes,
well, of course, we've seen the tape being set at the finish line, which is an indication that we are not far off from seeing the first winner of this race. The tape has just been set, so anytime from now, we'll be seeing the first winner cut the tape in this race at the finish line. So we are closely monitoring that. It's as we wait for them to come into the town here in Iten. And remember, along the road now, we are having a number of people lining up to cheer on the athletes taking part in this race. A lot of people lining up on the roads. Those who have come from church or those who intend to go to church after, they're just lining up along the road to give the athletes the final cheer before they get to the finish line. And it's just trying to motivate them as they run in this. On the men's side, rather, we have the leading pack right there. Trying to stay mentally strong as this race goes on. And aside from that, of course, at top of your mind, there's also money, which is a motivating factor in the race. The tape has been firmly set, and we are waiting to see the winner go and go and cut the tape. They're just getting into Iten town, and the residents have fully flocked the roads here. I can see them from our commentary area. I can see a number of people that have gone to the roads just to witness this marvelous occasion. Happens once every year. That is, of course, towards the end of the year. That is when we have the Iten International, and not Eldoret, beg your pardon, Iten International Marathon. So lovers of athletics and also of course other people just lining up along the road to go and see their favorite athletes, to go and cheer them on as they are almost approaching the finish line. And remember, the tape has been set, and you can see it's a firmly set up for them to cut it. So we are waiting to see who comes out as the winner of the 42 kilometers of the Iten International Marathon. Remember, marathon was flagged off early in the morning at 8 a.m. and so far we have done 2 hours and 15 minutes. So it's not going to be so we are waiting to see who wins on the women's side and on the men's side. And Steve, I can see you already have the name of the winner of the 10 kilometers race.
We informed that John Lomoni has won the men's 10 kilometers. I had an opportunity to interview Lomoni barely a week to this race.
Yes. What did he tell you?
Lomoni competed last year. Yeah, still in 10 kilometers.
Yes.
But he was not among the top 20. He went back to strategize. Today, he makes a comeback and is the winner.
Very, very impressive.
That is how determined some athletes can be. You know, you come to a race, finish around number 20, even in number 40. Some athletes have finished in number 40. Return to the same race and take the title.
Yes.
One example is John Lomoni. He spoke with a lot of confidence and said he's coming back, not just to be on the podium, but just to prove that he has gone back and has re-strategized and has improved on what made him not be among the top 20 last year. So that is how some of these athletes are so determined. He competed in a 15-kilometer race, which was here early in the year, and he was number 3. And that encouraged him that he can run 10K and still be on the podium, given that he competed in the 15K and found that he was in good form. And that is why he's here today, and he has proved a point. And the women leader, Valeria Yabey, is a former Frankfurt marathon champion. He has competed in a number of races, including the Beijing Marathon. She won the Beijing Marathon around 5 years ago. And is here competing in a race that is happening in a training base. Here, Valeria Yabey is so connected with the fans that when you listen to them cheering on, they'll just be calling her name, because this is where she trains as she prepares for bigger races. Interestingly, she was from maternity leave about a year ago. And this tells you what happens when women athletes proceed for maternity leaves. They return stronger. Yes, a number of them have returned stronger.
Very, very impressive. Of course, the case of the winner of the 10 kilometers race, that is John Lomoni, failing to win last year, failing to make it to the podium, failing to finish in the top 10, failing to finish in the top 20, but went back, re-strategized, came back stronger even for this year's marathon, 10-kilometer race rather, and he won the 10 kilometers race. And as Steven said, he had a chat with him, and he said that he feels in a good shape, and that is why he won the 10 kilometers race today. But remember, we are waiting for the winner of the 42 kilometers race, both in the men and women's category. A number of people have just lined up on the streets of Iten town, just waiting to get a glimpse of who's going home with the 1 million Kenya shillings, the prize money for the winners in this race. And they just want to cheer them for giving them that final push before they get to the crossing, they get to cross at the finish line. The leading lady right there so far, we have done 2 hours and 19 minutes, and now all eyes are on her to see how well she navigates the remaining kilometers to win this edition of the Iten International Marathon, a race that was flagged off at 8 a.m. in the morning. Temperatures were bit low. Remember, at 8 a.m. it was about 10 degrees Celsius, very, very low. But speaking to a number of athletes here in Iten, and the ones who participated in the 10 kilometers say normally that is the norm here in Elgeyo Marakwet County in Iten town. This is what they're used to, and remember, they're running at such degrees, and it's very, very cold. They don't get to see their sweat at that time, and that has been the case. But we are waiting for the winner of the women's 42 kilometers to come and cut the tape. So far we have done 2 hours and 20 minutes, and we are slowly waiting to see who crosses that line. Brother, the lady on your screen, we are waiting to see how well she can power herself to the finish line, and it's all about her at the moment, racing to come and cut the tape. And you can see people are all along the roads just cheering her up, just trying to give her the final push, just trying to make sure that she is coming to win. And in a bit, she will be coming to the finish line as the winner of the third edition of the Iten International Marathon. So in a few minutes, she will be crossing that line. We are waiting to see her cross that line as people, she is being cheered on along the road to go and cut the tape. And we are heading there. And of course, in a few minutes, or even we are counting seconds as she comes to the finish line to cut the tape. And in a few seconds, she will be heading to the finish line to cut the tape. Remember, we have done so far 2 hours 22 minutes. And there we have your winner for the 2024 edition of the Iten International Marathon. Very, very impressive running from start to finish. Remember, she broke from the leading pack earlier on, and we were questioning whether that tactic is going to work, but it has really, really worked. She has really run a perfect race this morning, Steve.
This is super fast. They should be around 2 hours 23 or 24 minutes.
23 minutes.
Yes. Running 2 hours 24 thereabout in Iten is super fast.
Yes.
And it means this is an athlete who was well prepared for this race, and not just physically, but was also mentally prepared for this race. And it means she's in a top form. She's in a very best form this year. I saw Valerie competing at the Iten cross country AK series earlier this month on 2nd of November. And she must have been using the cross country race as part of the preparations for the Iten International Marathon. You know, Iten has also proved that it can host, apart from the road races, it can also host cross country, and it can also host other races such as 10 kilometers, 5 kilometers. This is, like we said earlier, the paradise of long distance running, and such opportunities help these athletes to make history, help these athletes to prove that you can run London Marathon, you can run Beijing Marathon and win, you can run Frankfurt and win, but still compete at home and prove that the same style you use in competing in Frankfurt,
yes,
London, and other races across the world, you apply it at home. The fact that you are competing at home with the advantage of the fans cheering you, that means that Iten International Marathon is really gaining its status as an international race. Races start from somewhere. Remember this year's edition, the timing has been improved. You know, we're no longer using the electronic, the stopwatches.
Yes.
We have shifted to professional timing. And
Yes,
the time that you register here will be a time that can be used to enter any athlete in any other local race.
So the men's winner just coming to the finish line at the moment. Valerie Jerotich-Kosgei has finished second in the women's race. Let's take a look at the winner in the men's race coming to a finish.
shaka ni mbio hizi za Iten International Marathon, na hapo awali tumeweza kushuhudia washindi wakiweza kupatikana. Makala ni ya 3 na hapa ndani nipo na mshindi upande wa wanawake, na mzungumzia Valerie Ayabei. Valerie, kongole zaidi kwa kuweza kutoa ushindi, mbio kubwa zaidi na pakubwa zinajiri tu baada ya kumaliza nafasi ya pili kule Kapsowar, lakini leo ukaonyesha kwamba upo vizuri. Mbio zimekuaje?
Mbio leo nilikuwa mzuri na wata haikuwa mbaya sana. Unajua hapa ni nyumbani.
Pengine ulitumia mbinu ipi leo kuweza kuibuka mshindi upande wa wanawake?
Mbinu ya leo ilikuwa tu kama mazoezi, sababu hapa ni nyumbani, tuna train hapa, tunaenda long run huko. Saa hapa ni nyumbani tu. Hapa ni mazoezi.
Umekuwa ukiongoza mbio hizi tangu kuanzia kwa kilomita 10, ukafungua pengo kati yako na umati mwingine. Je, hii ulikuwa unatarajia kwamba kutakuwepo hivi?
Nilikuwa nikifungua, alafu nilikuwa nikijua hii talasti karibu 10 kilomita itakuwa ngumu. Saa ikabidi nifungue kwa huko, alafu ni kikuja hata kuslow hapa iko sawa.
Ni muda ambao ulitarajia kuandikisha pengine?
Nilikuwa nikitarajia, sababu nilikuwa nikipiga mazoezi kwa muda sasa.
Tuzungumzie kuhusiana sasa mashindano yajayo ya humu nchini na kimataifa. Ushindi huu na kuandaa kwa mashindano yepi pengine?
Kwa mashindano yenye nakuja nangojea management. Najua saini nangojea management, alafu
na pengine wale wanariadha wachanga ambao wanakutizama, umekimbia nao, utapenda kuambia nini wewe kama mzao hapa?
Naambia tu wa run clean.
Asante sana na kila laheri, Valerie.
Asante.
Huyo ni Valerie Ayabei, mshindi wa mbio za kilomita 42 makala ya 3, na ikumbuka kwamba posho ni nono la zawadi ya shilingi milioni 1, na humu ndani basi itakuwa inakwenda katika vitabu vya historia kwamba ni baadhi tu ya wale ambao wameweza kuibuka mabingwa. Nitakuwa nasema pia na bingwa upande wa wanaume aweze kunieleza imekuwa kwaje. Nyuzi joto zimekuwa za chini zaidi. Mida ya asubuhi ilipoanza tulikuwa kama nyuzi joto hivi 11 ama 12, na je, aliweza kustahimili vipi mvuke na baridi kuona kwamba wanaweza kutoa ushindi? Lakini sasa hivi na kurejesha kwake Robinson Okenye, na upande mwingine Hassan Juma waweze kuendelea nikiweza kumwandaa huyu bingwa upande wa wanaume.
Very much, Davis Mberia speaking to Valerie Ayabei, the winner of the women's 42-kilometer race. She ran an almost perfect race, and of course, she was untouchable. Remember, she broke earlier on from the leading pack. After almost 5 kilometers, she was already gone, and she went through to win the third edition of the Iten International Marathon. And on the men's side,